Before diving into this incredible story, remember to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here, every story has something to say, and you won't want to miss a single one. The rain fell in fine, icy needles on the asphalt, and night enveloped the city in a veil of gray and solitude. In a narrow alley, between two dilapidated buildings, walked a young girl with large, tired eyes, Lily Harper, 12 years old. Her shoes were full of holes, her clothes threadbare and soaked, and each step made a soft, hollow sound on the wet ground. The wind rushed under her jacket, making her shiver, but she kept going, her hands clutching a small canvas bag. This bag contained her only treasure of the day, a piece of stale bread she had found behind a bakery. She hadn't eaten anything since that morning, but she wasn't thinking about herself. No, her mind was elsewhere, attentive to every sound, every movement in the shadows. She knew the city could be cruel, but her heart was still big enough for compassion. That's when she saw a thin, trembling dog with deeply sad eyes. Its ribs protruded beneath skin covered in dust and mud, and its paws were bloodied from walking through street debris. The dog looked at her with an intensity that made her sway, as if its eyes were silently crying out, "I'm hungry. I'm scared. I'm alone." Lily knelt gently, taking her piece of bread. She had never had a dog, and yet something inside her told her that this little creature deserved to eat before her. Shivering with cold and fatigue, she broke the bread in two and offered half to the dog. Her hands were red and cracked, but she smiled nonetheless. The dog approached slowly and cautiously, sniffed the bread, and finally took it with surprising gentleness. At that precise moment, an invisible bond formed between them. Lily felt her heart warm, despite the icy wind and the darkness that surrounded them. And this gesture, so simple and so innocent, would change his life, and that of the dog, who would soon become much more than a companion, a symbol of loyalty, courage and hope in a world that had too often forgotten what kindness means. The rain had stopped, but the streets were still damp and dark, lit by tired streetlights that cast flickering shadows on the graffiti-covered walls. Lily Harper still clutched her bag tightly, and at her feet, the small, hungry dog she had just fed followed timidly. She knew nothing about him, no name, no past, just a fragile presence that seemed to answer her with loyalty and hope. As she advanced cautiously, the soft sound of footsteps on gravel caught her attention. In the darkness, an old man had stopped to watch them. He wore a dark, almost old-fashioned coat, but his eyes shone with a gentle, attentive curiosity. "Little one," he began in a trembling but calm voice, "why are you giving your bread to that dog?" Lily looked at him, surprised and wary. She had learned to distrust strangers. But there was something in his gaze, a warmth that contrasted with the usual coldness of the world. "Because he's hungry, sir," she replied timidly. "I can wait." The old man knelt down beside him, watching the dog, now satiated, gently wagging its tail. His eyes misted over. "You're an exceptional girl, Lily," he finally said. "Come with me. I think I can help you." Lily felt a mixture of fear and hope. She had never had a home, never had anyone to look after her. But the sincerity in the man's words was palpable. She hesitated for a few seconds, the cold biting her hands, but the gentle gaze of the dog, Chance, reassured her. She nodded. And for the first time in a long time, Lily walked beside an adult who didn't look at her as a child to be avoided, or as a problem to be ignored. She walked into the unknown, but with a glimmer of hope in her heart, and the dog, Chance, trotted by her side like a silent little guardian angel. This simple decision, to follow this man, would mark the beginning of a new life. A life where hunger and fear would no longer be her only companions, and where the kindness she had shown the dog would return to her in forms she could never have imagined. Mr. Thompson led Lily through the narrow lanes to a large, old but meticulously maintained house. The windows diffused a warm light that contrasted with the cold, dark street. The wrought iron gate creaked as they passed, and the dog, Chance, trotted in, curiously sniffing every corner of the property. Inside, the warmth was immediate. A fire crackled in the living room fireplace, casting dancing shadows across the walls adorned with antique paintings. Lily felt her shoulders relax for the first time in months. The scent of burning wood and fresh bread enveloped her like a hug. "Come here, Lily," said Mr. Thompson, squatting down next to a comfortable armchair. "Sit down. You must be exhausted." Lily timidly obeyed, placing Chance beside her. The dog snuggled against her, and she felt a wave of relief. No one had ever made her feel safe. "You have nothing to fear here," Mr. Thompson continued. "I know what it's like to feel alone in this world." She listened to him in silence, her eyes shining, and finally whispered, I've never had a house." The old man nodded gently. "Then it will be yours, for a while. And perhaps longer, if you wish." In the kitchen, a hot meal was prepared for Lily, steaming soup, fresh bread, and a little milk. Each bite seemed to warm her from the inside out, but it wasn't just the food that nourished her. It was the feeling of being seen, noticed, and, for once, loved. Later, as she drifted off to sleep in a soft bed with Chance at her feet, Lily felt that this moment marked a turning point. A part of her painful past remained etched in her memory, but for the first time, she could imagine a future filled with security, friendship, and warmth. And that night, the homeless girl and the hungry dog began a journey that would change their lives forever. In the days that followed, Lily discovered Mr. Thompson's house as if she were exploring a new and mysterious world. Each room was filled with warmth, books, and objects that told the story of a long and rich life. Chance, the dog, never left her side, watching over her faithfully. One afternoon, as they sat by the fireplace, Mr. Thompson gently placed his hand on Lily's. "Lily, tell me your story, if you'd like." Lily lowered her eyes. Talking about her life on the streets was painful. Every memory took her breath away, the cold, the hunger, the insults, the indifference. And yet, something in Mr. Thompson's gentle voice reassured her. She took a deep breath and began to speak. I never knew my parents. My grandmother raised me, but she died last year, and after that, there was no one left. I slept in parks, alleyways, sometimes behind garbage cans. I learned to survive on my own." Tears streamed down her cheeks, but she did not wipe them away. Mr. Thompson listened in silence, not saying a word, but his mere presence was enough to comfort her. "You've been through so much," he finally murmured. "And yet, look at you. You shared your only loaf of bread with a starving dog. That, Lily, that shows incredible courage and kindness." Lily looked up at him, surprised. No one had ever praised her for her kindness. She had always been criticized for her weakness or her appearance. This simple compliment sparked a glimmer of hope in her heart. I just want to help those who are alone or hungry," she whispered. Mr. Thompson smiled. "And you will. But first, you must learn to protect yourself, to feed yourself, to rest. You deserve to live, Lily, not just survive." This was the beginning of a transformation. Each day, Lily opened up a little more, sharing snippets of her life, laughing shyly, and learning to trust. And Chance, her faithful companion, remained ever present, a tangible link between her painful past and the hopeful future she was beginning to glimpse. This house, this old man, this dog, all of this formed the beginning of a cocoon in which Lily could finally breathe and dream. The weeks passed, and Lily began to adjust to her new life. Every morning, she woke up in a warm bed, the sheets clean and fragrant, with Chance snuggled up next to her. The cold of the streets and the anxiety of survival seemed to belong to another life, like a nightmare she had just woken up from. Mr. Thompson had prepared a small room for her, with a desk, books, and a soft wool blanket. The house was not only a physical refuge, but a space where she could finally breathe, think, and dream without fear. One morning, as she watched the rain falling outside her large bedroom window, Chance hopped onto the sill and barked softly. Lily smiled. "Yes, Chance. I know. We're lucky now." Mr. Thompson entered the room with a breakfast tray, toast, jam, hot milk, and some fruit. "Start your day well fed," he said, smiling. And then, I think you might discover something else in the house. Curious, Lily followed the old man. He led her through the library, where shelves stretched from floor to ceiling. Books of all sizes, colors, and subjects awaited her. Some were about travel, others about science, art, or history. Lily had never seen so many books in her life. You can read whatever you want, Mr. Thompson explained. Every book is a window onto a world you've never seen. Lily felt a thrill of joy. For the first time, she had the freedom to discover, to learn, and to escape into stories that were not her own, but that nourished her mind and heart. In the evening, after dinner, Lily would sit by the fireplace with Chance at her feet and read aloud. The house echoed with her soft, curious voice, and Mr. Thompson listened attentively, sometimes gently correcting her pronunciation or encouraging her to continue. For the first time in months, Lily felt safe. Not only protected from the cold and hunger, but also surrounded by a kindness that nourished her soul. She was beginning to understand that trust could exist, and that the world could offer something other than pain and loneliness. And each night, as she fell asleep with Chance snuggled against her, a new feeling filled her, hope. As the days went by, Lily began to explore not only the house, but also the surrounding neighborhood, always accompanied by Chance. Every outing, even a short one, was an adventure. She marveled at details she had never noticed in her life of wandering, the flowers in the gardens, the laughter of children playing in the parks, and even the simple smiles of passers-by. One afternoon, while she was distributing some biscuits she had found in the kitchen to hungry birds in the nearby park, she saw a little girl crying on a bench. Her clothes were dirty and torn, and she was clutching a trembling kitten. "Hey, are you okay?" Lily asked softly, approaching. The kitten curled up even more in the little girl's arms. The little girl shook her head, sniffing. Lily knelt down and took a piece of bread she had saved for Chance out of her pocket. She handed it to the girl. "Here, give it to him. He's hungry, just like you." The little girl watched Lily for a moment, surprised, then accepted the piece of bread. The kitten ate eagerly, and a shy smile appeared on the little girl's face. "Thank you," she murmured. Lily smiled in turn. "You don't have to thank me. Sometimes, sharing what you have, even a little, makes the world a better place." This simple gesture touched Lily deeply. She understood that kindness wasn't just a gift for oneself or for animals, but a light capable of warming other hearts. Every smile she received in return was an invisible yet powerful reward. When she returned home that evening, Mr. Thompson was waiting for her with a smile. "So, how was your day?" he asked. Lily told the story of the little girl and the kitten, and how a simple gesture had changed their afternoon. Mr. Thompson nodded in admiration. "Lily, you have a rare heart. Your kindness is contagious. You may not know it yet, but you are already inspiring others around you." That evening, reading by the fireplace with Chance at her feet, Lily realized that her life had changed not only for her, but also for those she touched through her actions. And for the first time, she felt that she could truly make a difference in the world. The weeks turned into months, and Lily was slowly blossoming in her new life. Every morning, Chance waited for her by her bedroom door, eager to begin another day of adventures. The routine of security, warmth, and food had transformed the once fragile girl into someone confident and curious. One afternoon, while helping Mr. Thompson sort books in the library, she came across an old notebook with yellowed pages. As she leafed through it, she discovered stories of travel, scientific discoveries, and young girls who had overcome incredible hardships to achieve great things. Lily felt a burning inspiration in her chest. "Mr. Thompson. I want to learn. I want to do something good in this world," she said shyly. The old man smiled, touched. "Lily, you've already started. Every act of kindness, every smile, every helping hand, it's already a step towards a better world. But if you really want to learn and grow, it will take courage, perseverance, and an open heart." This conversation sparked a dream in Lily that she had never dared to express before. She wanted to help others, protect those who were alone and vulnerable, and perhaps, one day, create a place where children like herself could feel safe. Each day, she read a little more, learned to write properly, and invented little stories about Chance and herself, about their adventures and encounters. The dog, faithful and attentive, seemed to understand her thoughts, and sometimes Lily whispered to him, "One day, Chance, we'll do something great." In the evening, while looking at the stars through her bedroom window, Lily dreamed aloud. "Perhaps one day, no one will have to be hungry or afraid. Perhaps I can help them all." Mr. Thompson, listening from across the hall, smiled in the shadows. He knew Lily's heart was exceptional, and that what he was seeing was only the beginning. The young girl's painful past had forged her resilience, and now, her courage and kindness would allow her to dream bigger than ever before. Thus, the homeless girl, once lost and starving, began to build a hopeful future, guided by a kind old man and Chance's unwavering loyalty. Over time, Lily began venturing out more in the neighborhood, always accompanied by Chance. She had gained confidence in herself and her abilities, and the outside world was no longer as frightening as it once had been. Every step on the familiar streets of her old neighborhood reminded her of where she came from, and every smile she received showed her how kindness could change perceptions. One morning, Lily decided to take concrete action to help those who, like her once was, were alone and hungry. With Mr. Thompson's help, she prepared a small basket filled with bread, fruit, and blankets. She and Chance set off to distribute these supplies in the alleyways and parks where she had experienced her worst moments. She encountered other children sleeping on the sidewalks, lonely elderly people, and even some stray animals. With a simple gesture, a kind word, or a smile, she brought a little light into their day. Each person she touched gave her back unexpected energy and joy. One afternoon, while she was helping an old man carry his groceries, he looked at her in astonishment. "Little one, how is it that you are so generous despite everything you have been through?" he asked. Lily shrugged and smiled shyly. "Because I know what it's like to have nothing, and I want others to feel that they are not alone." The residents of the neighborhood began to talk about the kind-hearted girl and her faithful dog, Chance. Children started to follow her example, sharing their snacks or toys with those in need. Adults, inspired by her sincerity and courage, also joined in. Lily's kindness spread like a small light through a neighborhood that, until then, had seemed cold and indifferent. Every evening, back at Mr. Thompson's house, Lily would recount her encounters and successes. The old man listened, admiring the young girl's maturity and compassion. "Lily," he said one evening, "you're not just surviving. You're building something bigger than yourself. And that's exactly what this world needs." Lily watched Chance snuggle against her and whispered, "Yes, Chance, we really can make a difference." Thus, little by little, Lily transformed her past pain into a luminous force that touched everyone around her, proving that even the simplest gestures, when guided by a pure heart, can change the world around you. One autumn evening, as the wind made the dead leaves dance on the sidewalk, Lily and Chance were returning from distributing meals to the neighborhood children. Suddenly, a scream tore through the air. A kitten was trapped on the windowsill on the second floor of an old building. Without thinking, Lily ran towards the building, her heart pounding. Chance barked behind her, seeming to understand that something needed their attention. The neighbors, frightened by the danger, kept their distance, unable to help. "I have to save him," Lily whispered to Chance, determined. The ledge was narrow and slippery. Lily took a deep breath, her hands trembling, and carefully climbed up. The kitten meowed, frightened and weak. Chance barked even louder, as if to encourage her to continue. When she finally reached the small animal, her hands slipped on the cold stone. But with a final burst of strength, she grabbed the kitten and held it close. Getting down was even more difficult, but Chance, faithful and vigilant, guided Lily through the danger, barking to attract the neighbors' attention. When it finally touched the ground, the villagers applauded and some shed tears of emotion. Lily, soaked and breathless, stroked the kitten and whispered, "Everything is fine now, you are safe." Mr. Thompson arrived shortly after, worried, but relieved to see Lily safe and sound. He took her in his arms and said softly, "Lily, you have once again shown exceptional courage and kindness. But don't forget, you also need to think about yourself and your safety." Lily smiled, wiping away her tears. "I know, but I couldn't leave someone in danger, even if it's just a kitten." This ordeal marked a turning point for Lily. She understood that true kindness sometimes required courage and risk, and that her generous heart could make a difference, even in the most difficult situations. The kitten was adopted by a neighbor, and Lily felt immense satisfaction. Her determination had saved a life. That evening, on her way home to Mr. Thompson's house, she whispered to Chance, "You see, my friend, sometimes, being good requires audacity. But it's always worth it." And Chance, faithful as ever, rested his head on her knees, as if to tell her that he would always be there, by her side, no matter what trials might come. The story of Lily's courage and kindness began to spread throughout the neighborhood, then to the neighboring streets. The residents spoke of the girl with a big heart and her faithful dog, Chance. Every gesture of Lily's, however simple, inspired others to act with greater generosity and care. One morning, while she was distributing meals in the Central Park with the help of Mr. Thompson, neighbors and even curious passers-by began to join her. Some brought blankets, others warm clothes or toys. Soon, what had started as a small, isolated gesture became a true community initiative. Lily watched in wonder as things changed around her. Children who had once played alone began sharing their snacks and toys. Adults, touched by the young girl's sincerity, organized themselves to help families in need. Even the local shopkeepers joined in, offering bread and fruit to support this small wave of solidarity. One day, a local journalist came by to interview Lily and Mr. Thompson. Lily, initially shy, explained simply, "I'm only doing what I can, but if everyone helps a little, then no one should be alone or go hungry." Lily's words spread throughout the city, and donations began to arrive to support her initiative. The neighbors had learned that kindness could spread like a gentle but powerful fire, and that even a single act could touch dozens of lives. That evening, on her way home to Mr. Thompson's house with Chance, Lily felt filled with gratitude. She looked at the starry sky through her bedroom window and whispered, "I may only have a small heart, but with Chance and everyone around me, I can brighten many lives." Mr. Thompson, visibly moved, placed a hand on her shoulder. "Lily, you are already a light for this city. And this is only the beginning." Thus, the homeless girl who became a symbol of kindness began to transform not only her own life, but also that of an entire community. And Chance, her faithful companion, continued to watch over her every step, reminding everyone that loyalty and love could change the world, one gesture at a time. The seasons passed, and Lily Harper grew up under the watchful eye of Mr. Thompson and with the unwavering loyalty of Chance. The fragile little girl she had been was no more. She had become a confident, generous, and courageous young teenager. Her initiative in the neighborhood had grown to the point of becoming an official community program. Families in need received meals, clothing, and advice. The children who had once shared a smile with Lily blossomed in turn, becoming messengers of kindness in their city. One summer evening, as Lily and Chance sat under a large tree in the Central Park, Mr. Thompson looked at her tenderly. "Lily, you transformed pain and loneliness into light and hope. I believe the whole world should know your story." Lily stroked Chance's head and smiled, her eyes shining with gratitude. "I didn't do it alone, Chance, and I wasn't alone either. What we started is thanks to all those who believed in goodness." At that moment, the wind rustled the leaves above them, and Lily understood something fundamental. Simple gestures, guided by a pure heart, had the power to change the world. Every smile given, every piece of bread shared, every outstretched hand created an invisible but powerful legacy. In the city streets, the legend of Lily Harper and Chance continued to grow. Children told their story to other children, and adults remembered that a simple act of kindness could inspire an entire community. And Lily, finally, fell asleep every night with Chance nestled against her, her heart light and her mind filled with dreams. Dreams that had begun with a shared piece of bread, a sincere look, and the desire to do good in a world that so desperately needed it. The past of loneliness and hunger was now just a distant memory. His present was filled with light, and his future promised even greater deeds, always guided by this simple but powerful principle: kindness has the power to save lives. Thus ended the story of Lily and Chance, two souls bound by compassion, leaving behind a legacy of courage, love, and hope that would continue to shine long after they had passed away.